All right. Hi there, Danitza. Good evening. Again, thanks for waiting, for your patience, all right? Because we're always starting 9:10 a little bit right later. But we're going to try to cover also more time, as I told you, just not only to compensate this, right? But also in order to try to cover more content as long as we can have some extra time. All right. But let's start doing what I told you in the previous class, that is using just 10 to 15 minutes to a short review of the lesson that we have for today. If everything seems to be clear, then we can go to the practice related to writing. And actually, we'll start going to write those elements that I told you to review right by yourself that you already did, but I told you to do it again so that it is clear, right, how to use those punctuation marks in examples, right? Because we're going to be writing examples for every punctuation mark today so that we understand how to use all of those properly, okay? And I can see that it is clear. So I don't know if you have any questions before starting with the class, Danitza. Let me know, please.
Good evening, Josely. Yes, I already make a review of the lesson you told me. What's Wednesday? I don't know. I cannot pronounce it. Miércoles.
Wednesday?
Wednesday. I
Wednesday.
know that the D is not mentioned, right? No, I don't have to mention D.
Exactly, it is
When?
silent. The D is silent. Correct. Don't worry, but yeah. Actually, you should know, right? You have to practice then that on Wednesday. Okay, great. If you read them, then today is going to be easier and it's going to be more fluent. All right. But then, if you're ready with that, I just want to check this very fast. Tenses review. Okay. We should know all the tenses, but again, I want to verify that everything is clear. And perhaps only by checking this, I'm going to be sure about this. Okay, so let me ask you the questions. This is going to be a conversation here that needs to go to a real practice. Here, I want to know that you know how to use these tenses. Okay, so for example, the simple present tense. In what situations would you use the simple present tense? Anita, and give me just one example, please.
Is something that you, well, to express something that you make every day or in a frequently way. And um, she works. I work. Mm, I know something like that.
Okay. Yes, exactly. And to that, it is always good if it's simple present to add right frequency adverbs or expressions related to the repetition, right? So you can
Always.
I always work, or I work from Monday to Friday, or I do go to the gym right on the weekends, right? So your example is good, but remember to make it always, let's say, justified why this tense is the best option. The expressions, the time expressions, the adverbs that we can use are always a good justification. Okay, just to be sure that that's the correct tense that you have to use. All right.
Okay.
Okay, that's the only thing. Good. The second one, present continuous. It can be very simple, but remember, it can have two or three usages. Tell me all the cases in which you would use the present continuous, please.
Okay. Well, the first one is when you are perform some action and you want to express or make focus on like on that, I don't know, frame time, and you want to show that the action is being uh, performed. And that's the one case you use them. And the other one is when uh, you also can express something that you will do in the future, but in a future that is close, maybe. Yes. And the last one, uh, well, you can also use it to show like a contrast. I mean, you can combine this tense with present, simple present, to show that you was performing something, and I don't know, another person was doing another thing also. Something like that. I don't know.
Okay, good. Only one. In the last one, actually, that's not going to be a real usage, but that's a possibility, right? But if you analyze, if you say while I'm doing this while you are doing that, it is still number one, right? That is doing something at the moment. Or it can be also two, right? So it is correct, but that's not going to be the third one, right? You can, and the two that you told me, they are correct, right? So you can divide this in three, right? Something that you're doing now at this exact moment, that's number one. Number two, something that you're doing in a period of time, not exactly now, but it is happening right in this period of time, and it's temporary. Okay, that's number two. And number three, the one that you told me, it's used for future situations. It can be right, not a distant future, right? It has to be a short-term future, but also the condition is that it has to be very specific, right? And it has to be almost for sure. If you say, for example, I'm traveling this weekend, it's because you have the tickets already to travel. You have everything set to travel, and in that case, for that short-term right plan for the future, present continuous is going to be a good option, right? So those are the three. Again, they are good. Just the second one is going to be separated from the first one. Remember, not something that you're exactly doing at this moment, but you're doing in this period of time, this month, this week, or this semester, right? So those are the three. Great. And the one that you told me again, remember, is a way of combining. That is great. It's not going to be a separate usage because the usage is going to be the same as number one, number two, or number three. All right, good. Let's keep going. Simple past tense. When do you use it? And just give me one example, please.
Okay, it's stress, that's an action you or is already done, it's finished. I can say I know. I took a bus to to go to Copacabana. I don't know. I know that something is wrong there. I took a bus. I don't know why. I don't know. I went to Copacabana. That sounds better. If I want to say it.
No, what you said is correct, right? Because that to remember, it is infinitive of purpose. So it is correct. You can say, I took a bus to go to Copacabana, right? And infinitive has to be always to plus base verb, right? So to go to Copacabana, that's going to be the best option. I believe it is good. So the sentence is correct, but remember, it is going to be important to be specific because if you only tell me that that is a finished action, right? And you give me that example, it is correct, but it is not unique because I can say also, I've taken a bus to go to Copacabana, and it's still correct, right? So what is unique about the simple past tense? If I ask you, is it always finished or can it be unfinished? That I want to verify that.
Mm, I
All
think
right.
it's finished.
Yes, you have to be sure about that. Exactly. It's always finished. It is definite or an indefinite.
Definite.
Definite, right? So those two elements are always going to be key. You mentioned that it's finished, right? But you have to be sure about that. So if it's definite, then in your example, what has to be unique about the simple past tense is that you can mention a definite time expression. Okay, because if you don't mention a definite time expression, it's also correct, but it is going to be like any idea in the past, and it can be in the present perfect, it can be in the past perfect, right? Because we don't have a specific context So if you simply add, right, yesterday I took, right, a bus to go to Copacabana, that's going to be unique and only for the simple past tense, right? You cannot replace that idea with the present perfect, with the present perfect continuous, or even with the past perfect, right? Because for to use, right, to use those tenses, we need specific details. All right, let's keep going. You're going to let me know if you have questions, but I'm giving you those elements so you have that there. So when you write your examples, that has to be there, okay, to justify why you're using the simple past and why you are not using the present perfect, and so on and so forth.
Yes, in this case, I need a time expression, right?
Yes, and again, you can use it without the time expression, but just to explain and to justify this, it is a good idea to, at least in a formal way, to use a time expression, because it is definite, correct. And not any time expression, a definite time expression, right? Because you can use indefinite time expressions for the present perfect. For example, before. If you say before, that's a time expression. It's a preposition working as a time expression, but it's indefinite, right? For 2 hours, that's also an expression, a phrase, but it's also indefinite, so you can use it with the present perfect. Okay, so a definite time expression. Then, in number four, that is briefly, when do we use the past continuous?
Okay. Past continuous. You usually use it to, well, to show that something was happening in the past while another action interrupt this action or was performed before or after this action, something like that.
Good. Do you remember what is the purpose of using the past continuous when you tell a story? What is the function of the past continuous?
So,
What could it's just one word that starts with C.
no, I don't have it the word in my head.
Okay.
But I can say that is I am not to no, I don't have it.
Okay, no worries. It's going to be the context. All right, it's a good way to talk about the context. When you say, right, yesterday it was raining when this happened. So the idea that you told me is correct. Something was happening, then something interrupted. But if you can express that with the idea of context or the things surrounding, right, your main activity, because it is not always going to interrupt or happen directly. Sometimes it is only going to be the context to other actions that are more important, right, happening or that happened, right, in between that specific context, right? In a rainy day, it was raining, and as it was raining, right, many things happen. Okay, just that clarification because it is correct. Simple future. Then simple future is will, right? What do you say about will?
Um, you want to express something you are going to do in the future, but you took the decision in the moment, but it's not something that you planned before. And basically, is that right?
I couldn't hear the last part. The thing that you said is correct, right? A decision made at the moment of speaking, that's one. I couldn't hear the next part. I thought you were going to say something else. Well,
No,
what
that,
else?
that was it. That was it.
You remember that? Okay, so what can you tell me about predictions? For what type of predictions do we use will, Anissa? For predictions when we have evidence or when we don't have evidence?
Oh, we, I could say we don't have
One more time, please, Anissa. I couldn't hear very well.
we don't have evidence.
We don't have, exactly. Because remember, in general, will seems to be weaker than be going to, right? So decisions made at the moment of speaking, predictions without evidence, those are the two most important ones, right? But remember, they also use it for promises, for refusals, for requests, for future facts, right? And other details for future or just expressions in general. But that's important. Good, that's fine. A future will be going to. You can tell me just the opposite, right? When do we use be going to?
Be going to you reply to express arrangements.
That's one. Arrangements, plans.
Okay.
What about the predictions? What happens with the predictions in the case of be going to?
Yes, you make your prediction based on information. On information.
All right. I don't know. I can understand what you're saying, but something's happening with the audio now. That it's I don't know if it's with the microphone or something, but it's like it's intermittent. All right. Sometimes I can hear you well, but it's then you get a bubble or something happens. I don't know if it's technical or just the position of the microphone. Can you say something now? I want to see if I can hear you. I want to hear.
Hi, do you hear?
Yeah. No. Now it's
Yes. Okay.
good.
I
So
told my okay.
yeah, that must have been all right. Something must have been covered in the microphone or something like that. All right, but then one more time, please. The second idea I couldn't hear very well. The evidence. What can you tell me about the evidence we'd be going to one more time?
Oh yeah, that you need, o sea, you need like information or just information to express some predictions in the future when you want to use be going to.
Exactly.
It's
Right. So
different. It's different. Here I want to confirm something. It's different from will because with will you use facts, right? You say, you know, the sun is going down at 6, for example, and you use will, right? But so here's the sun will going down.
if it's a scientific facts, a physical facts, a biological facts, it is going to be with will because you don't decide that, right? It's not your plan, and it's not a prediction actually because you're not predicting something that you know that it will happen, right? Because again, you cannot say yes, right? Tomorrow the sun is going to rise, right? It can be poetic.
Oh, will rise.
We say will rise, exactly.
Yes.
We know that it will happen. Of course, many things can happen in the universe, right? Imagine that is the end of the world, right? But again, taking into account that millions of things can happen, what we know that will happen, it is a future fact. So yes, in that case, you use will. Only for predictions, for things that you don't know because it is not a fact, because scientifically speaking, logically speaking, right? It is not going to be for sure that it is going to happen or it will happen, right? If it's for sure, it will. If you don't know, but you're predicting, but you have evidence for that to happen, then be going to. Okay, that's why the predictions we be going to, Nisa, are mainly going to be related to things that are hard to tell. For example, scientifically speaking, we cannot predict with 100% of certainty the weather, right? The forecast, if it's going to rain or not. That's why in that case we never say will with the weather, at least in terms of predicting the weather, right? In that case we say be going to, because it's only a prediction based on evidence. But mainly I was going to say you talk about social predictions. Okay, if it's going to be a social prediction for something that we don't know, because again, scientifically it has not been proven that it happens every time, then it is going to be a prediction we'll be going to. Okay, I don't know if that helped or if that created more confusion. Let me know, please, if that's clear.
It's clear.
Okay, good. There you go. So that's becoming to and will, right? Again, once you get the idea of the contrast that they got, it's easy to remember the difference, all right? Now, the last two, please, together. You can work on the last two together. That means a present perfect and present perfect continuous. And with that, we go to our working with writing. So what do you say about the last two?
Okay. You use present perfect when you want to show that something starts in the past and still be and it's ongoing in the future, in the future and in the moment that you're speaking. And usually you use this to express that something probably will not change. And like when you want to express something like work, that could be my main example. Yes, that would present perfect.
All right. And the present perfect continuous, what do you think or what do you say it is the main difference between the present perfect and the present perfect continuous? What situations are better for the present perfect and what situations are better for the present perfect continuous? What do you say?
Okay. Well, you can use present perfect continuous when you want to express the I don't know, or make emphasis on the duration of the long of that you know long the time those um, um, yes, I don't know how to express this. That is to express something that you have been doing and you want to express what I want to make emphasis in the duration or something like that.
All right, I'm going to complement that. Okay, again, everything you're telling me is correct, but you can also take this into account. Remember that the present perfect and the present perfect continuous both can be for finished or unfinished actions, right? Both are going to be for something that started in the past and it might, not always, right? But it might continue into the present and even into the future, as you said, right? But the point is the following. It is a better idea to use the present perfect for finished actions that happened at an indefinite period of time, right? So
Yes.
I've watched that movie twice, right? So it's finished, but it's indefinite. We know that it happened twice, but we don't know when. But you don't say that, right? I've been watching that movie twice. It's not going to be that correct, right? So that's the best option for the present perfect. Finished indefinite actions. And the present perfect continues also with that logic, but it is better with unfinished actions that have a more clear connection with the present because this action has recently happened, right? And it's not always going to be the case of the present perfect. Again, if you say, I've been to the US twice, it can be 10 years ago, right? It can be 5 years ago, 10 months ago, right? It can be 1 week ago. So it's distant from the present. It can be distant for the present. But the present perfect continuous, it is almost always going to be closer to the present. Right? That's why we can use very commonly expressions as recently and lately. Right? I've been going to the gym lately and I feel very good. Right? I've been reading this book and I love it. Right? I didn't finish yet, but I will continue. Right? So that's going to be my recommendation over Anissa, to always take into account that the present perfect it can be finished, but it can have a long distance from the present. but the present perfect continuous is always closer to the present itself. It can also be the case of the present perfect, of course, okay? But I'm making the difference for which one is the best in what situation, all right? So with that, we are done. I don't know if you have any questions about that, Anita, as I'm going to just show you the slides that you have over here. But what do you say? Do you have any questions about this tenses review?
No,
Okay,
I
good.
will practice more.
Yes, remember you have this presentation. Of course, this is not a complex presentation, but you have here the explanation, right? When it is a good idea to use these tense, right? Use these tense for, and you have the explanation for most of the tenses. And here you have a chart comparing all those tenses in affirmative, negative, and interrogative form. And of course, you can see the grammatical changes that you have in every single tense. Okay, but that's then for you to review. Now we have, and that's great, more than 30 minutes, I believe, to practice with our writing skills. Okay, and to understand that it's what we're going to do for you to understand what I want you to do with writing with me now. I'm going to show you the advanced course that I have for writing. That is this one. And this is the structure, and this is the logic that we're going to follow. All right. First, we're going to be working on writing basics. And writing basics is mainly about punctuation rules and, of course, using the colors that I told you to identify the parts of the sentence. Okay, to be sure which one it is going to be, or when it is going to be complete or incomplete, and what parts you have in each sentence, and when it is a good idea to use a comma or not. Okay, so writing basics is about that. Complete sentences, compound sentences, punctuation rules mainly, commas, colons, semicolons, dashes, and of course coordinated conjunctions or mainly that we call families, right? For, or, nor, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's the first part. That's the logic we're going to follow. In the second part, we have to work on transitional words. Of course, to work on this, we need to work on bigger ideas, not only short sentences, because for commas, for the colons, semicolons, sometimes they can be just sentences. They can be sometimes long, but just sentences, some just ideas. But to use the connectors and transitional words, you need now paragraphs, right? Or one paragraph or paragraphs to connect those ideas with transitional words. Okay, that's why this is the second part. Once the first part is clear in terms of sentences and punctuation marks, the second part is to connect those ideas, right, to other ideas in a logical way. And that's why we're going to take a look at these transitional words and phrases. Okay, I'm going to just show you some of them. Of course, the formula that we have for them, and we have a very big list for additive transitions and a lot of categories for that one. Adversative transitions the way the same. Okay, subcategories for that one, causal transitions and sequential transitions. Okay, for sequence. This is the second part, and of course some punctuation rules that go along with transitional words. In the third part, we're going to start taking a look at what I told you to check little by little, the essay. Okay, because a very specific, a common essay to learn for tests is the argumentative or persuasive essay, right? Where you have to convince the reader that you are right. And that's very formal. I would say that this is the most formal type of essay. And that's what we're going to learn. Okay. And again, the conclusion or the result of this third part, Anissa, is the template that you have in the well, on the platform, right? You have that with colors, that is the result. And of course here you have to manage very well the punctuation marks, the transitional words, and all the rules for that case. Okay, and finally, and of course we have many other things surrounding that, but this is the main, all right, structure. Finally, we have some tips to improve when we have the essay completed. We have some extra tips and things that we have to do to make our essay even more formal. Okay, for example, again, avoiding the usage of negative sentences. Okay, it's not advisable to use negative sentences. No contractions, right? No abbreviations. Using active voice for persuasive essay to always show the person who's saying that, because you cannot say things that are anonymous. All right, you have to always support your ideas with sources and with names. Okay, that's why the active voice in this case it is preferable. and some vocabulary, right, to help us get to that level, synonyms and so on. But this is the structure, okay? This is the logic that we're going to follow, and this is again what I wanted to show you to understand what we're going to be doing. Now we're going to start with this. I know you reviewed this already, so what I'm going to do is just read some important elements. And in this part, we're still going to work on only sentences, but I want to be sure that we're using the punctuation marks correctly. But let me know, please, if you have any questions or comments about the way in which we're going to be working in these separate activities. So let me know.
No, I don't have questions. Thank you to share it with me.
Okay, great. No, you're very welcome. Then let's start with a very short review. Commas. We use commas. Again, you reviewed this, but we're going to write examples for every case. List of items, write short phrases. This is very simple. Items, and it's a writing, you perhaps you must know that. Items are not only objects or words. Items can be phrases, and phrases can be long, okay? Long, very long. For example, playing the guitar every night, that can be an item, okay? Because that's going to be one activity, but that's only one item. Okay, so here you have to understand that a list of items is not only words like this, it can be actions, activities, right? You can say, I love, right, playing the guitar every night after school, comma, right, watching some series, right, as I'm eating something else, comma, doing this, and that, comma, and doing that. Okay, so that's also used with commas, all right? And there you can have, of course, gerunds, infinitives. It depends on what is the verb, the main verb, right? Because the main verb is going to tell you if you're going to need a list of infinitives or if you're going to need a list of gerunds. Okay, have that in mind because I'm going to ask you to write something like that. That's the first one, right? List of items. And remember, we only use a comma before and in a list of items when we have more than items, right? This is called the Oxford comma. So the Oxford comma is applied just in that situation. All right? You have more than two items or more than two activities. Then, for fanboys, right? You can summarize this. You use commas with fanboys. It is complete idea, comma, fanboy, complete idea, right? To complete ideas, all right? No phrases. Here you need to complete ideas. If it's a phrase, this rule is not going to apply. Okay, you need complete ideas in the two parts, before the comma and after the comma with the fanboy. Okay, take that into account. And also remember, just a quick pause over there, that you have this presentation, I believe that I showed you, but the fanboys, right? These are the fanboys, remember. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so, right? And this is what I was showing you. The comma is going to be used if you use these fanboys to separate, to divide, to complete ideas. Complete idea, comma, for complete idea, if you want to show something as because, the reason. Okay, Julie did not go to school. Why? Comma, for she was ill. That's the reason. Okay, so again, every word, of course, has, right, their own, let's say, meaning. And following that meaning, you have always two complete ideas. Complete idea, comma, fanboy, complete idea. Okay, so that is the usage, the second usage of commas to separate the complete ideas with vowels, right? The third one, introductory phrases, right? It can be also just not only a phrase, it can be also a word, all right? Just a word. So in preparation for the next convention, write the idea that you read. But remember, it can be time, place, it can be in Bolivia, comma, this happens and that happens, right? On Wednesday, comma, I did this and that, right? Before my test, comma, this, or before, right, the convention, comma, this, and that happened. So phrases or words, okay, not clauses, because that's going to be different. What is a clause? A clause is going to be like a complete idea with an introductory word. For example, when, before. If you give me before with a complete idea, that's going to be a clause, and that's going to be something else. You also use comma there, but it is going to be just because of the inversion of the clause. Okay, not because it is an introductory phrase. Remember that a phrase is an incomplete idea. Okay, it's never complete, always incomplete. It means it's only going to be the subject or the object or the verb as an activity, but it's never going to be subject and verb. That's going to be a clause or a complete sentence. All right? And then I believe this is going to be the last one here. Yes, parenthetical or interrupters, right? Parenthetical phrases, again, they are going to be, in this case, I believe you can also use clauses as in this example, because this is a clause. All right. So I would say parenthetical phrase or interrupter, and interrupters can be words, can be phrases, or can be clauses like this. But remember, to be sure that this is correct, Anita, you can always take this away, and if the sentence is correct, then you are using this correctly. But if this information was so important that when you take it out, the sentence is not going to make sense, and then it is going to be incorrect. All right, so that's what I wanted to mention, because now I want you to write 4 different examples applying these rules. But I don't know if you have any questions before going to the first practice like this. So let me know, please.
Yes, as I told you, Wednesday, I was struggling, and right now I think I have this sensation too. About the types of sentence, and because you use phrase, and I mean you can use different words to express some kind of sentences, right? So yes, yes. That's my main problem, because I think I mix the headers of the type of the structures, and I would really like to make a mind map. If you can help me with that, because I think in this way I could follow it, so make the flow of my understanding here make more, I don't know, more easy, or perform this in an easiest way.
Okay, okay. I can help you with this, mainly with that. I'm going to show you now in a very short way, I believe, examples of phrases, of simple sentences, all right, of compound sentences and complex sentences. And as I'm showing you the complex sentences, you're going to see what a clause is. All right, this is going to be the beginning. Then little by little, I'm going to help you with perhaps doubts, right, or inquiries that you might have. But let's take a look at this. All right, then you tell me if this is going to help you. If not, again, I'm going to build something over it. But also, as you're going to write examples with the punctuation marks, you're going to be learning those details. But all right, for example, this is going to be what? That's a phrase, right? That is a phrase. Or also, this is a phrase, right? That is a phrase, right? Or traveling. This is not going to be a verb, it is going to be like a noun phrase, okay? So these are going to be phrases, but I'm going to give you even longer ideas. So also, this is going to be a phrase. Okay, that's also a phrase. It is incomplete. What makes it incomplete is this starting with what. All right, then even we can make it longer so that you can see that a phrase is not always going to be short. It can be very short, just 2 words, but it can also be, all right, very long. So for example, I'm going to add some words over here. Okay, again, I'm not going to make it longer, but it's just to clarify. These are phrases. Why? Because they are incomplete ideas. They're just a part of something that means something else. And if you put it like this, it doesn't make sense. you need something else, right? This can be an introductory phrase, or this can be an interrupter, introductory phrase, or the subject or the object. This one the same, subject, object, interrupting idea, all right? And this one the same. This is a noun phrase that can be the subject, that can be the object, right? That can be the introduction for something or the interruption. Okay? So these are phrases, okay? Always incomplete ideas. All right? Then we're going to go to the sentences, and in the complex part, you're going to see the clauses. All right? And in sentences, you know that you have, right, complete sentences, no, of course, they are complete sentences. In this case, simple sentences. Okay? And in simple sentences, it's going to be this structure, right? Very simple. But of course, you can have variation, right? What is the variation? That you can have more than one subject and more than one verb, but referring to the same idea, right? So a simple sentence, it is going to be, again, right? John wants to go to Germany, right? To study there, right? Over there, let's say. Okay, so that is a simple sentence. But also, again, of course, there's Jones. Over here, you can have two sentences, or not two sentences, sorry. And married to subjects, and of course, these changes. Okay, it's still a simple sentence, right? But it can also be with two verbs. You can have then this, right? John wants to go, right, to Germany to study there, and to buy a new apartment. Okay? So this is still a simple sentence. Why? Because this is going to still belong to this. Now here, this is up to you. When you can use infinitive, it is going to be correct if you use infinitive in the two cases, or you can use infinitive only in the first case, and in the rest of the cases, it is going to be only the base. Okay? But in both ideas, it is going to be correct. But again, it is still a simple sentence because it is still part of the same idea of the same subject, right? And once again, you can just do exactly the same, and instead of that, you can say this, right? And Mary wants to go, of course, to Germany and to buy a new apartment, right? And of course, you can make this even longer by having a list of items, but it is still a simple sentence, right? Why? Because it is still part of the main core, the same idea, right? So you can say this, to buy a new apartment, to start a new life, and to, yeah, be the best, right? Here it's going to be in plural, right? Yes, so, and to be the best in, right? Let's say, okay, I'm just making that up, of course. But again, this is still a simple sentence, all right? So this is the idea of a simple sentence. And it's, again, perhaps you know this, but this is still simple because you have one main subject or two main subjects or three main subjects, but they are sharing, okay? They are sharing an activity or a set of activities that are going to be stated as verbs or simply as these actions that you can see over there. Okay? So, and even the sentences here are not always going to be, or the activities, sorry, can be different. You can have verbs that are not going to share the infinitive structure, for example. Okay, so I'm going to give you just one more idea that I believe is going to be at the end with this, only with John. Okay, so John, I don't know what it could be. Okay. All right, here the same idea. right? In this case, we're not sharing infinitive or gerund, but we have two separate verbs, and this is again still, of course, a simple sentence because we're still following this structure. Okay, we're not breaking this. We have more verbs over here, so you can have subject plus verb plus complement plus verb plus complement. But again, the main idea is that the core element is over there. Okay, so this is what a simple sentence is. It can be again very long. That's not going to make it complex or compound, but it is this idea that I'm sharing. I don't know if you have questions on this part, Danny, so let me know, please.
No, I don't have questions. Okay, here all guys are right, and after this, I mean, all these combinations can be turned into compound sentences,
It is
right?
only possible to be compound if you're going to work on this structure. You're going to combine two complete ideas, but not only like that. You're going to need here, okay? And this, in other words, is a fanboy, okay? So to make this compound, you're going to have not only one complete idea that has a lot of verbs or a lot of subjects, you're going to have two, okay? And they are going to be divided by a comma and a coordinating conjunction. All right, that's going to make this a compound infinite. All right, if here you decide to separate these ideas for the two of them, or you do this, for example, and he feels, right, what is correct over there? No, it is good. Now this is compound. All right, why? Because you decided to use a comma and to use a subject once again to divide the idea and to have two complete ideas. And even though you're talking about the same subject, this is now compound because you have officially and grammatically speaking two complete ideas that are divided. Okay, but if you don't have it like that and you just keep it like this, and of course you don't need a comma over there, it is going to be only a simple sentence. Okay, so yes, some of them, and of course with changes in the case, can be, let's say, turned into compound sentences. All right, this is the main idea. Of course, you can have other rules, but this is, at least for the writing exercises that we're going to be working on, Danitza, this is what has to be clear. I don't know if you have questions about that change.
Yes, I have questions. Can you repeat, please?
Okay, yes, what?
Yes, like the last example, when you erase the comma and you say something like this is a simple sentence, but if you put the comma and also you see there you have two complete sentences, so that's a compound, right?
That's exactly. Okay, so look, in other words, if you analyze, here we have the subject is John or John and Mary. Okay, that's it. The verb is going to be want, to go, to study, all right, or sorry, here to go, to buy, to start, to be. Those are going to be activities inside the verb want. So it's still one verb. And to go, to buy, to start, to be, those are the complement. Okay, because those are a list of items. This is a list of items. To do this, to do that, to do that, and to do that. A list of items with comma. So this is just subject. Okay, so again, we're going to analyze this. I told you, and actually, let's start doing that. Okay. All right. So again, this is the subject, right? And in this case, I'm going to work on the longer one. So here, this is our subject. Right here, the verb that we need, I'm going to put a couple over there, is only this, right? This is the verb. That's the only verb that we got over there. I'm using the same one, yes. And all of this is just going to be complement. Of course, little by little, we're going to be right making the complement into parts. But right now, I just want you to understand this idea. Okay? Now, this is what you need, and this is what you get here. Now, here you have the same, but it's just that you're using two verbs, and it is possible. You can use more than one verb, as long as you're using only one subject. That's the condition to be a simple sentence. Okay, and one subject is not that it's one person. One subject can be many people, right? But they are going to be at the beginning of your idea. And that's going to make that, all right, that's going to make that simple. Because you have, in this case, two verbs, right? You have two verbs over here. But once again, they still belong to the same subject, and you're not repeating the subject. So everything here in between is going to be the complement of your idea. All right. Good. Of the main idea, that is John, that is two verbs, and these two complements are also complementing each other, but it's only one simple sentence, okay? Because we're still part of this structure. But again, it is going to become this, okay? Because now you're going to have this different structure, and we're going to make the change. You're going to add a comma, because to make a compound sentence, you need two ideas divided by a comma, a coordinating conjunction, and another complete idea. That's why here, again, just by doing this, it is going to be compound. Even though John is he, yes, but grammatically speaking, again, and it's grammatically speaking, this is one complete idea, and this is another complete idea. All right, and that's why, again, you're going to have that. Now I'm going to use different colors, okay? For this, in this case, you have that at first, yes, but of course you need the comma and the coordinating conjunction, right? We're going to use another one for that one, this one. All right, you need that in order to be, oh, okay, sorry, I used a different one. In order for it to be a compound sentence, okay? And here, once again, you can have the subject, the verb, and the rest of the elements. All right, and actually I'm going to just copy that over here and here. Okay, so this is the logic. As long as one main subject and it shares the verbs, and you're not using any other complete idea, it is going to be a simple sentence. Even though it's John and Mary, it's 10 people, 10,000 people, it doesn't matter. You can make a list of 5 names, it's still simple. Those 5 people can do 2, 3 activities, but they are part of the same core, and this is one core, it is still simple. But once you have, and okay, I'm going to just copy this. Once you have these two ideas separated by a comma and this, it is now going to be a compound sentence. All right, and you just can change this to other coordinating conjunctions. And remember, the coordinating conjunctions in Anitza are going to be the followers, okay? And mainly that, mainly in this case, you will have, all right, compound sentences. So I don't know if you have any questions about this part, then so let me know, please.
Okay, just to clarify, this sample is called also an independent clause, right?
Yes, and more than it can be taken into clauses, but more than clauses here, I'm going to just call them complete ideas. Okay, so you need two complete ideas connected by a fanboy to have a compound sentence. Okay, it is better we call them like that, just in this case. It can be also clause, but you're going to see that it is going to be better to save the word clause to the next part to see how they can be dependent. But yes, here, grammatically speaking, it is also correct to call them clauses. But one more time, my recommendation to avoid confusion is that in compound sentences, you call them only complete ideas, and two complete ideas separated by a fanboy, it is going to be one compound sentence. Okay, so this is only one. This is not two sentences, right? This is only one compound sentence. All right? And again, one compound sentence is always going to be composed of two complete ideas that you can call them, again, if you feel comfortable with that and you're going to have the next part clear, you can also call them clauses, dependent and independent clauses. All right. I don't know if you have any other elements over there to see also the contrast between this and the complex that actually they are not more complex in the sense of how long they can be or the words that you use. No, they are only complex in the way of how flexible they can be. That's it. All right. So I don't know if you have other questions. First in these two, because actually simple sentences, I gave a lot of examples to show you that a simple sentence is not because it's short or simple. It's just because it has a common and simple structure. All right.
Okay.
Let's see then the complex, and then you ask me the questions.
Okay.
All right. So in complex sentences, it is going to be very similar to this. All right. But instead of this, all right, over here you will have subordinating conjunctions or other ideas that work like that. And I'm going to give you an idea or a list of subordinated, but also you have to notice something here that you don't have a comma, right? You're not using a comma over here. But it is also, here we don't use fanboys. Subordinating conjunctions are not fanboys. Again, I'm going to show you. The thing with this is that it can be flexible, and that's why we call them complex sentences, because the structure, here we can call this structure made of clauses. You have the dependent clause and the independent clause, but this can be, right, inverted. All right, this can be inverted. You have subordinated conjunctions plus this one, then you have a comma over there, and one more time you have the complete idea or the clause, right? The next part of the clause. And this comma again is going to be perhaps with another color, and it's going to be this one. Okay, so this is a complex sentence. A complex sentence is going to be made of subordinated conjunctions. You know many. It can be when, while, it can be because, it can be as, it can be right. All these words connecting your two ideas without a comma. But again, it's going to be complex because the way they connect to each other can be flexible. Just that. Okay, that is the only thing about complex sentences. Okay, and again, if you want just one example, we can use the same example over here, but of course we're going to use some changes. We cannot use this connector over here. We have to use a subordinating conjunction, right? And of course we're going to change also perhaps these elements. So try to give me actually one. I told you some of them, and you can also change the next part in an instant. Remember, some of them are going to be because. Try to give me one with because. How can you connect this to the next idea using because as your subordinating conjunction?
Mm, okay. Mm, because I was tired.
But it has connected to John studies, right? John studies psychology because.
Okay. And John studies psychology because he enjoys talk with his friends.
Okay, one more time, because he enjoys
to talk to his friends. So,
just one little detail. Remember, we covered germs. Remember that we never say enjoy to. We always say
okay.
okay.
Mm.
Enjoys talking to his friends. All right, there you go. Now, of course, here we have the same elements. Okay, so I'm going to be just using the colors, but once again, I don't know if first again, and actually, this is going to be it. The only thing about complex sentences, that is, as you can see, it is that they can be, right, sorry, it is that they can be joined by subordinated conjunctions or conjunctions, sorry, and they can be inverted. That's it. You have two clauses connected by that word, and that's just a complex sentence. Okay, and again, the difference is very clear. Here, once again, you only have one subject in simple sentences. You can have two verbs, the subject can be multiple, of course, and the complement. Here you have two complete ideas joined by a comma and a coordinated conjunction, but this doesn't have the flexibility of doing what you can in complete sentences. All right, it's always going to be with a comma and this. And in this case, again, is that you use subordinated conjunctions and you are going to connect or join the two clauses in two possible ways, right? In the standard way of doing it or with inversion using a comma. That's also something I'm going to do now. But that's basically the difference between the three types, all right, of sentences. And with only those three and these three structures, you're going to work absolutely everything in many different ways because the commas that you're going to add to these sentences, they are always going to be then introductory phrases, they are going to be interrupters, they are going to be conclusions at the end of your idea, as you're going to see with the dashes and with the colons. They are going to be just that. And even the compound sentences, right, can be a little bit more complex in the sense, all right, of being compound of more words and other transitional words, actually not, and other punctuation marks. But I'm going to show you that in the semicolons. But again, let me know if you have any questions about the differences that you see between these three sentences, please, Danita. Okay, as I'm doing.
Right now, as you show here, I think I have the idea. Yes, but I would like to share with you my vision board of my board that I think I have some other words or I don't know, no words, some other auxiliary words that can enrich your paragraph, but I am not sure if we are going to work with this or if while we are during this period that we are going to improve my grammar, we're going to use the same terms. I would really like to share this with you.
Yes, yes. Do you have it there to show me? I can stop sharing my screen.
No, but I mean, I have, but I think you, I mean, look, this is, I like posits, so I usually write and post, I don't know, ¿cómo can I say pegar? Es coach,
Like copy and paste.
No,
How to
it's
say that?
like the posits have already a glue, right?
You glue them. You can also use glue as a verb. They are glued to something. If you want to say that.
Yes. I don't know who can I say this. We I use the posits and I los pego en una superficie.
Okay. Also, you can say you stick them or you glue them on the surface or on the wall. I glue those right elements on the wall or on a surface. You can say.
On a surface. Surface. That's better. I don't know if you can see now the image.
Did you send that to WhatsApp?
Yes, please.
Okay, yes, give me a second. All right, I'm going to open WhatsApp over here and I'm going to let you know.
Eh, I am trying to clarify this because the photo is not so good. It's a bad photo, but I think that's the
Okay,
whole structure that right now I have. And there are other resources.
perfect.
And also, as you explained here, we're not going to use clauses. We're going to use sentences. But well, here from my Grammarly source, I think in other sources too, because it's, I don't know, California University have a course in Coursera, so I also use that for enrich this photo. So I would
All right,
really like to you well, you to explain something here. So
of course. Again, I'm going to take a look first. I'm going to try to give you a short explanation before finishing the class, okay? I believe that I cannot see clearly because of the resolution, but semicolon, all right, just to tell you this, and okay, you can hear me now, right? And it's you don't have any
yes,
interference or anything, okay, good. So semicolon is just going to be to connect sentences, all right? It can be a simple sentence, a compound sentence, or a complex sentence, and you can have sentences at each side of the let's say the semicolon. Here, for example, right, you have two simple sentences. Then is very healthy. Semicolon, right? She usually walks to work, I believe, right? So simple sentences. You're connecting two simple sentences in this case with semicolon, but you can connect compound sentences, you can connect complex sentences. All right, easy as that. That's the first thing that I can mention about that. Now, conjunctive adverbs, it says to use as transitions. These are mainly going to be used as introductory words or phrases. Okay, that's it. So this is going to be at the beginning again of simple sentences, at the beginning of compound sentences, or at the beginning of complex sentences. Okay, that's it. You're just going to use them because adverbs are going to give description, clarification of time, manner, clarification of a place, all right, to something. So these conjunctive adverbs that you can also call them in some cases, as I can read, this can also be called, and it's a transitional words and phrases, all right, in a certain situation. That's what we're going to cover also in one of the next lessons. And they are only going to be again to connect what? The simple sentences with compound sentences, the compound sentences with complex sentences, one simple sentence with another simple sentence to give the introduction to those sentences. And again, to use these before these elements, we always have a period or a semicolon. And after that, of course, after the word, we use a comma, as you have over here, right? But not only a semicolon, you can use also a period. So it's period, this adverb, the comma, and the next idea. And again, I'm going to call them again. That's why again I call them just complete ideas because that's what they are. But a complete idea can be a sentence, a simple sentence. A complete idea can be a clause. All right. So in order not to create confusion and to avoid to see the difference grammatically speaking between a sentence and a clause, I just call them complete sentences, all right? And I pay attention to the structure. That avoids confusion, okay? Now, in conjunctions, that's easy. But actually, you have two types of conjunctions here. And the conjunctions that you have over here, they are coordinating. Okay, so my recommendation is that you put that name because you can have subordinating conjunctions and they are not subordinating conjunctions. And subordinating conjunctions, yes, you have them down below, right? Coordinating conjunctions. The subordinating conjunctions are going to be different. But again, coordinating conjunctions are going to be to join two, right, complete ideas. and they together, the two complete ideas connected by a coordinated conjunction, is going to have as a result, and you have over there a compound sentence, right? It's exactly what I told you. That's going to be the result of that. Now, clauses are going to be at each part of, as you told me, they can be part of these compound sentences, all right, and also simple sentences. And what you have here is the same. A sentence is a complete idea, all right? Being a complete idea, John likes pizza. You don't have anything else that makes it dependent to anything else. So a simple sentence is at the same time as you have over there an independent clause, right? But you can have dependent clauses that are going to be part of compound sentences or complex sentences, right? Because you need that. If you say, because John likes pizza, that is dependent on something else, right? Comma, he is going to buy a lot to eat this weekend, right? Or a lot of it to buy this weekend. That's going to be independent in a certain way because there is not a thing that is going to depend on something else to have the meaning, right? So the idea is there. But once again, I only call them and it's a complete ideas because they are complete ideas. But if you want to be specific grammatically speaking, because you want to have that knowledge, that's perfect, then what you have here is great. A simple sentence is an independent clause, right? Compound sentence is compound, of course, of those two elements, the dependent and independent clause, and also the complex sentence, the dependent and independent clause. All right, so you have clauses anytime. It's just that they are not going to be dependent on anything. And here it's the same, right? You can, again, a clause is only going to be a complete idea that is either going to be dependent or independent based on what? Based on what's the introductory word that is going to make it dependent to something. Because if you say, and she wants to do it, right, that's going to depend on something else, right? What's before and? What is this idea completing, right? Anything else for, right? So you have always an introductory word that is going to make that dependent on something. Okay, but yes, what I can see here, this is exactly what we're going to be doing. Subordinating clauses, that's another name. We don't need to go deeper in that sense. We're just going to call them dependent clauses. And what you have here again, these are going to be also some subordinating conjunctions or elements to connect our ideas, but they are also going to work here in Lanisa as dependent clauses, but they are part of complex sentences. And these are going to work as subordinating conjunctions. All right, and they can be part again, they can be at the beginning or they can be at the end. Anytime. Yeah, tell me, Lanisa.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so anytime you have this flexibility, complex sentence. If you don't have the flexibility, you only use a comma and coordinating conjunctions, compound sentence. If you only have one main core, and over there you can have many commas, you can have dashes, you can have colons, it doesn't matter. That's a simple sentence, right? A simple sentence is always independent, right? A compound sentence is composed of the two of them, and a complex sentence is composed of the two of them. The only difference is how flexible the third one can be. But absolutely everything that you see over here is what we're going to be analyzing in the three types of sentences that I showed you. All right, and in all these contents that we're going to cover. Because first, we're going to see, and again to finish today, we're going to see the compound sentences with the comma rules that we have. And then in the next lesson, that's going to take more than one class. Okay, this is going to be like 2 or 3 classes, the punctuation marks, because that has to be very clear. But in the next lesson after that, we're going to see transitional words and phrases. And over there, you're going to see how you can combine everything with this that you're showing over here, right? Complete ideas, or you can call them a clause, an independent clause, or you can have 2 clauses, right? Then you have the semicolon, the transitional word, and you can have one independent clause that is a simple sentence, or you can have 2 clauses, right? Depending on independent, that can be a compound sentence, or that can be a complex sentence, and it can be in the standard order, or it can be inverted. Okay, but again, it's everything that you have here is just given, it's explained very well in good words, but it's exactly what we're doing and we're going to keep doing. All right, I'm just going to show you to identify these elements that you have over here. But again, once you have that click over there and you can recognize what is what, you're going to see that everything is going to be easy because it's going to be just like putting pieces together. And again, that's just practice. But I don't know if you have any last questions because again, this is exactly everything we're going to be doing.
Well, okay. I would like to explain this. The lecture of this was, can you scroll up?
Oh, yes.
Yes, from a class. In my lecture is from this, you divide dependent and independent. And with independent, you, in my idea, only can use conjunctions, conjuncting adverbs, and to use as transitions, and also they use semicolon, right? That was my idea. But you now told me that you can mix all this with the dependent clause, right?
Yes, but that's going to be a different type of sentence, right? A clause is just remember if you told me about a clause and if you're telling me just only about one clause, it depends if it's going to be independent. And again, if it's going to be independent, it can be a simple sentence. And in that simple sentence, it can include everything you have here. But again, you can mix absolutely everything here. Then so remember that they are just explaining basic units, right, of what is a clause, what is a sentence. But if you start mixing with other elements, of course, that's not only going to be one clause. If you use a comma and a fanboy, that's going to become right two clauses, and one now is going to be a dependent and independent clause, right? If you use a subordinate conjunction after the clause, that's not going to be independent, only independent anymore. Now it's going to be two clauses, right? If you use a transitional word to connect those two ideas, again, you can simply use one independent clause that is a simple sentence, or if you use other elements, the name, grammatically speaking, is going to change, right? It's not only going to be one clause, it can be considered now just one simple sentence. But again, it depends what you use. Of course, the basic elements of a clause is what you told me. But again, it depends on what elements you add and how you combine that with other complete ideas or incomplete ideas to still make them only independent, or it can be dependent. All right, but again, that's only going to be seen as we're going to be practicing. And once again, you can add anything you want, but once again, grammatically speaking, perhaps the name it is going to change. But what I want to show you is how you can do it, all right? How you can add other elements to still make it grammatically correct, to know what's the name of that and in what situations you can use it. All right, but again, remember the rules here are explained just by for this basic unit of expression. That actually even more simple is the phrase or the word, right? You have the word, you have the phrase, then you have the clause, and the clause can be again what I said many times. Okay, but let's perhaps be a little bit patient. And this, what you're telling me now, as we're going to be practicing, is going to come out. And as it shows up also, you're going to let me know if what you have here, what you have in your lessons, and what we're doing in the classes we're going to have, if it makes sense. All right. If you find something that goes against the thing that you have here, let me know, and we're going to see the grammatical explanation for that, or perhaps we're going to see why it is correct in that specific case. Okay, but that's what I can say now because again, everything is just going to be seen at the moment that it's and with one specific example, I can tell you why that can be correct or incorrect, or why it seems that we're using more than just your explanation over here. Okay, but that's what I can tell you now. I don't know if you have any other comments or questions.
No, thank you. I really like to, apply this in a natural way. And I don't know, be able to express myself as you did before.
Great. Yes, that's. Yeah, tell me that, Anita.
Yeah, for example, here in my lecture is that with complex sentences, you only can use adverb clauses connectors. You use only use. And here also I didn't take the photo, but you also have compound complex sentences that I estimate the mix of those. So those two.
And this is going to be again just when you mix two ideas shared by a semicolon, and they can be compounds and at the same complex. Because again, as I told you, right, the combinations, and it's just that they are going to have different names. That's why remember my piece of advice is at the beginning, we're not going to name everything the name it has, because again, it can sometimes be confusing. Okay, sometimes perhaps for you it's going to be good, so I'm going to be using the names. But remember that I told you, right? You can use simple sentence, semicolon, simple sentence. You can use compound sentence, semicolon, compound sentence. You can use complex sentence, semicolon, compound, or complex sentence, or you can mix. And as you mix and you share, or you combine, sorry, you combine and you join two, right, sentences with a semicolon, that can be considered a complex, compound, compound, complex, or right, as they call it, a combination of the two of them, because it is going to be combined of the two of them. And actually, you're going to see something similar to that, and it's in the examples with the semicolon. Because if you take a look at one of the explanations why we use semicolon, is when we use commas before, commas afterwards, and instead of the comma, we're using the semicolon. It's similar to that. But again, if you have a combination of compound and complex, and you use semicolon to divide those ideas, it is going to be considered a compound complex at the same time. And also what you're telling me here, all right? But again, I'm showing you the basics, and little by little, again, the combinations of all the things that you can write and how you join those ideas is just going to make, grammatically speaking, the name of that structure change. But again, for me, and it's better if you understand the basics of that without knowing the names that now they have when they are together, when they are like this and like that, it's going to be better, because once you understand only the main elements and how you can connect them, that's going to be it. Then afterwards, if you really want to specialize on the name of that, we can do it as well. But again, my main job is going to be to make you right, be sure about how you can connect the little parts of every sentence or every idea to work on these possible combinations. Okay, but again, in other words, they are just names of the millions and millions of combinations that you can have. All right, and again, that's that. It only has a grammatical purpose, and it's mainly communication. And this is mainly going to be used not even for students that are preparing for tests like the TOEFL, mainly if you want to teach the language. All right, but again, it can be a way of working, and we can work also in this way. But I wanted to clarify that. All right, they are just names, but the basics of everything is just the units that I'm telling you. All right. I don't know again then if you have other comments about that, Denise.
Sorry for saying. Thank you. Yes, I understand. Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't hear very well, Denise. Can you repeat, please?
Thank you, because, well, how can I explain this? Years ago, I took a grammar advanced course at CBA, and I really didn't do well because my professor was very rigid with the names of those elements. Yes, specific. So he did what he did was something like he gave us a paragraph, and you have to put the specific name in each sentence in two paragraphs, and you have to describe it.
Yes, yes.
I had a little trouble.
Okay, no, I get it. And that's hard. Look, actually, yes, I was also trained at the CBA, and if you want to be a teacher there, you take a test, and it's just grammar, all right? A lot of grammar. You have to put the names for things, say why it is correct, why it is incorrect. So, again, to me, that knowledge would be, and again, it's good and it's great. If you have it, that's perfect, okay? But in terms of usage and how useful it can be, is mainly if you're going to be in linguistics, all right, if you're going to be a teacher, if you're going to be into the world of this language, but in that depth, it is great. Okay, but if not, again, and remember the main purpose of the program is the TOEFL. And in the TOEFL, they don't care about the names of the grammatical structure, right? Of course, they are important because, again, the main thing is to make things easier, right? Instead of saying, yes, this sentence is like this because of this, and that, you simply say, yeah, it's a complex sentence, and you should know what a complex sentence is, and you should know what elements you need. Right? So in that sense, I understand. But again, my main purpose here is not going to make you memorize the names of all those possible combinations and things. Again, if you want, I can tell you and I can clarify things like today. All right. But again, just to finish, my main purpose is going to be to make your right sentences and ideas grammatically correct. All right, following the same principles that you have over here, but of course, more than wanting you to memorize names that they have, I want you to be sure that you understand why, all right, the connection between those elements is correct, why that punctuation mark over there is correct, because again, even though you memorize all these names, you always have so many variations that again, it is better if you understand the units of everything that can come, right, can, let's say, make more complex ideas with very complex names. But again, instead of again memorizing that, it's just learning to use those units. Okay, and learning using those units is learning connecting words, connecting phrases, and once again, instead of clauses, I'm going to get out of the idea of clause because if you have clause that is correct, it can be independent, dependent, always. Okay, but I'm just going to have the idea of complete ideas, subject, verb. And remember, actually, that's the definition for a clause. Right, but again, in order not to have always the idea of they have to be independent, I'm going to tell you that. Okay, memorizing units, understanding when it's incomplete, a phrase, when it is complete, that can be a sentence or a clause, and again, when to use the punctuation marks is going to be my main goal over here. Okay, just that to finish, take a look at this again with the explanation that I gave you with the one more time with the template that you have for the essay. And the next one, because I believe that this in a certain way has to be the basis of everything. But again, little by little, all right? Because everything that you have here, Tanisa, is only going to be possible when we get to the second or the third presentation that I have for you. All right, so first, let's go little by little by taking a look at these punctuation marks. And as we're working in the examples of punctuation marks, I'm also going to show you, all right, when it is a clause and when it is not, when you have a phrase, when you don't have it. But again, to get to the point that you have down below, we need some time. All right, because it's going to be a combination of many elements. But that's it. All right, I'm finishing with that. I don't know if you have any last elements.
No, thank you, Jose Luis. Uh, Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. All right, so practice this. If you can, please, man, it's actually, let's take advantage. We couldn't work. Try to give, all right, or try to use some time that you might have over there to work on what I told you. The presentation about, you have it, right, about commas, only with commas. Try to give me at least, all right, 2 examples for each case in which you use the commas. Okay, one for items, right, list of items, one for coordinating conjunctions, for introductory phrases, and for interrupters or parenthetical phrases, right? Two for each, it means 8 in total. And again, to be sure that you're practicing good, try to write something not always complex, but try to express something that you would like to do to be sure that your ideas are correct. All right, that's going to be please something we're going to be doing as something extra. It can be for Monday or even it can be for Wednesday, but try to do it for one of those 2 days so that we can keep working. All right?
Okay. I mean, okay.
Good, that's great. So I'm sharing please the survey as always. This is just the second day because we just started. Let's fill it out and that's it. I hope you have a good night, all right, a good weekend, and I'll see you on Monday then.
Yes, I hope you have a good weekend too. Thank you.
Thank you, Danitza. Bye bye. Good night.
Bye.